Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into Key Time Sports. It's Key Time coming back with another one to talk about my college football reactions from week 11. Now, there was a lot of things that happened in week 11, but there was something that happened in the SEC that really caught my attention. The Georgia Bulldogs and Ole Miss Rebels. Now, I knew Ole Miss. I thought that they were going to have a little bit of trouble with the Georgia Bulldogs. And I knew the Georgia Bulldogs offense was going to have trouble, but I didn't picture it being like this. I mean, Carson Beck, he had I don't know what kind of game that you can say that he had, but it wasn't good because he was 20 of 31, 186 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 interception. I don't know how that is. And then the rushing yards. The rushing yards for Georgia, that was non-existent. Only 60 yards to Ole Miss, 133. Jackson Dart, he got injured on the first drive. He went into the medical tent. I thought that he wasn't going to be able to come back, but I got to give credit to Austin Simmons coming in on that drive, the second drive of the game, and leading the team down the field for a touchdown. He was 5 of 6, 64 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, but he was able to navigate the team down the field, make a few passes here and there, and have the running backs run it in for a touchdown. Also, Euless Bentley, the fourth, he was the one that scored the touchdown in the first quarter for the Ole Miss Rebels. So now, I look at this game from its entirety. I watched the entirety of this game, play by play, stat by stat, and here are the stats. And as far as third down efficiency, this game was really about big plays. You can't really divulge into the third down efficiency because it was so many big plays that the Ole Miss Rebels made on first and second down. They very rarely had third down, and when they did, it was third and short. So Georgia was 6 of 14 on third down. Ole Miss was 4 of 13 on third down. So as far as this, when it comes to both of these teams, still have a chance at making the college football playoff. They still have a chance at that, but I think that more than likely, if both of these teams lose one more game, they are out of it. But Georgia, I've been saying this for weeks, they have to improve on the offensive side of the ball because what Carson Beck is doing ain't going to cut it when you get into those playoff games that you need to win in order to make it to the national championship. Now, Ole Miss, I got to give Lane Kiffin credit. This is his biggest win in his coaching career. He only has beaten a top 5 team twice. One was against Alabama, and the second one was Saturday. So this is the biggest win against a top 5 team, Alabama. The time that he won versus Alabama, they were ranked 4th. So, and then Georgia, currently, before the game started, they were ranked number 3. So now, Georgia, they have a lot of things on the offensive side to clean up and on the defensive side because I've noticed that their third down defense isn't up to par like it was earlier in the season. So, Ole Miss, congratulations on getting one of your biggest wins in school history. And Georgia, will you make it to the playoffs? Will you win the championship, Georgia? It remains to be seen. All odds are pointing towards Georgia to win the national championship, but I'm not so certain about that right now. I'm really not. And Ole Miss could get in there and shock a whole lot of people. But do I see that happening? No, I don't. I believe Ole Miss is gonna get knocked out of the first round. The next and with that, the next game I want to cover is the Clemson Tigers and the Virginia Tech Hokies. Now, Clemson, I did a report back on them in week 1. Week 1, they did not look great at all. Cade Klubnik, he was terrible. The running game for Clemson was terrible. The defense for Clemson was terrible. Now, lately, the defense has played a little bit up to par, and Cade Klubnik, he has been more efficient since that first game versus Georgia. And their last 7 games, Clemson has won 5 of their last 7 games. And Cade Klubnik on Saturday, he was 16 of 34, 211 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. The rushing game for Clemson cracked over 100 yards, 167. Virginia Tech offense was non-existent on both sides. From the running game to the passing game, it was non-existent. Their first touchdown came off of a defensive pick six. You're not going to win too many games when your first touchdown is a defensive pick six. But basically, all in all, this was a defensive game. Because you can see, when you look at these stats, the stats, when it comes to this game, it was a defensive game all around. Third down, Clemson, it was in favor of Clemson all the way. 9 of 19 on third down, and Virginia Tech 2 of 14. Now, coming into this season, we didn't expect much from Virginia Tech. We didn't expect nothing from Virginia Tech at all. We didn't. So now we see where the Clemson Tigers, they starting to catch a little bit of rhythm, a little bit towards the end of the season. Now, will they be able to make the college football playoff? That remains to be seen. But I can say, if Clemson makes the college football playoff, I don't think that they're going to be able to withstand teams like, I'm going to say Georgia, Ole Miss, Oregon, Ohio State, and they might have a chance against Miami, because I don't think that they're going to be able to withstand teams like Ohio State. Now, we know the last time Clemson played Ohio State put a whooping on them. 31-0, I remember that. So, Clemson, if you keep on winning, you maybe have a chance to get in the college football playoff and possibly play a New Year's Six Bowl. Who knows? But congratulations to the Clemson Tigers on winning your 7th game of the season and staying relevant and keeping a position in the college football playoff. The next game I want to cover is the Michigan Wolverines and the Indiana Hoosiers. Indiana Hoosiers, this is their best start in school history, and the school was established back in 1887. So just stay with me, audience. 1887, Indiana Hoosiers football program was established. 1946, a football club was established with rules and stuff. And then in 1868, the first college football game was played. So when you see all of this, Indiana has been one of those colleges that started college football. Indiana, they are the first team to win a college championship. They are the first team to win a college championship. And ever since then, they haven't been able to get back to a college championship. See, Indiana, what they have done is, when they first started out, Indiana was pretty much the top dog. And then for about 80, 90 years, they were just mediocre. Now with this new coach, Kurt Cinetti, he has got this team believing that they can go all the way to the national championship and win this season. This season. So Indiana, I wouldn't be surprised if they are in the college football playoff, because this team they have made it a tough outing to beat Indiana. And plus, prior to this game, the games before that, they were winning games by at least 2 touchdowns or more. This is a great game that they played versus the Michigan Wolverines. It was a close game, and I always state that when you have a team that can win by 2, 3 touchdowns, they need to have a win where they can win by 3, 4 points. And this is exactly what Indiana did on Saturday. Now, as far as the quarterbacks in this game concerned, Curtis Roke, he had a decent game, 17 of 28, 206 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Davis Warren, 16 of 32, 137 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Can Michigan get to a bowl game and become bowl eligible? It is going to be tough because I don't have any confidence in their offense. I really don't. And I've been saying this for the past 2 or 3 weeks. I don't have confidence in their offense at all. So all in all, this was a good test for the Indiana Hoosiers. Can they go undefeated? It remains to be seen. It is. It remains to be seen. The last and final game I want to cover is the Alabama Crimson Tide versus the almighty LSU Tigers. Now LSU, they wasn't looking almighty Saturday night. They really wasn't. And that is why I went with Alabama in this game, because what have I told everybody about LSU? LSU, they know how to get leads, but they don't know how to keep leads, because the defense started getting lax. They start celebrating. They think the game is over with. And then before you know it, the opponent done tied the game up, and then the opponent will eventually win the game. But Saturday, that didn't happen, because Alabama came out. It started to rain and stuff in the game, and everybody was saying that maybe this game should go into a delay. No, Alabama, they came in there like a runaway train. I mean, you saw how many yards they got on the ground. They had, to be exact, they had 312 yards rushing on the ground. I mean, that was a runaway train now. And by halftime, this game was over with by halftime, because it was 28-6 at halftime. And I'm saying to myself, I'm like, is this really going to be a competition? Because it didn't seem like that. And then in the second half, I said, okay, maybe LSU can make this game look respectable. And before I could say that, there go Alabama scoring another touchdown. I basically made my reaction video on this game in the middle of the third quarter, because that is how bad this game was. Because you had the LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier, 27 of 42, 239 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. And then you had Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe, he really didn't even have to throw the ball. He was 12 of 18, 109 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And like I've been saying, the LSU defense, I didn't have confidence in them coming into the season. And I certainly don't have confidence. in that defense now. And plus, their season ended Saturday night. But like I told everybody, I said, guess what? I'm not surprised by it, because you know why? Because the defense is lackluster. The head coach, it looked like he don't know what to do when his team get down by 10 or 12 points or 14, 21 points, down by 3 or 4 scores. It seemed like he don't know what to do. Then you had the offensive coordinator. He don't know what to call the defensive coordinator, trying to mend the storm, trying to get his team all focusing together. And it is nothing that the LSU Tigers can do as far as being focused. Because LSU, they are a hype team. That's all they are. Start of the season, they come into the season with all this hype, and then after the first 2 games they lose, and then it's like, okay, they brought back down to earth. So that's all with the LSU Tigers. Now, Alabama, they win the next 3 games, they get in the college football playoff, and then we'll take it from there. But LSU, you might as well pack your bags, get ready for the 2025 season. Go back to the drawing board and get ready. No, you ain't got to go back to the drawing board. Start on your recruiting process for 2025. Start that right now, because you are not making it to the college football playoff, LSU and LSU Tiger fans. And with that, those are my reactions to week 11 of the 2024 college football season. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Click the notification bell to get notified of all of my reaction videos, shows, and other content. Also, follow Key City Sports on TikTok. And remember one last thing, the key is always on time.